All right, thank you, and everyone who comes and listens to the Internet of Value Foundation New York episode 101. And glad to see some faces in here. Rose, Shellfish, Fridge. I hope you guys find this information we speak about in here today as valuable as I know I do every single day. The diverse amount of mindsets and perspectives that we get to listen to all of these interesting topics. And I posted relative topics to what we had spoken about yesterday in the space, and um, I have some more thoughts on everything we've spoken about, especially when it comes down to speaking specifically about the possible physical properties, the quantum physical properties that could exist inside of a black hole, and a wormhole that could be associated with the extension of uh, space without time in this matter, to kind of explain how you would be able to traverse the wormhole. And I know Shellfish, you had posted reposted that video from Suskind the other day, and if you have any questions or would like to speak about the thought of breaking a tensor network in between de Sitter space, and that that kind of notion of the 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 one of the things actually I also wanted to touch on from yesterday that I didn't, about the Rulliad, and kind of where the Rulliad would really fit into this particular matter of the notion of trying to cut the physical properties in mathematically in de Sitter space, or we could call it the space around us, right? That we feel like is empty. However, there are quantum properties that are existing and interacting on different scales, and I think the Rulliad is like a tool where you have on one notion all of these physicists speaking about the space between us being of quantum properties, and then you have someone like Stephen Wolfram, who I believe to be like the Einstein of our 21st century, uh, and he's building the tool to kind of map it out. Welcome up, Rose.
Hey DR, just thought I'd come up and say hello and support. Obviously this is not my area of expertise, so I've got you on while I'm still working. Hope everybody else as well. And yeah, looking forward to hearing about entanglement and quantum physics.
And it's going to be a quick space, and especially if nobody wants to come up or ask any questions, I'm going to just touch on some things I think about and close it up, because I want to be uh, done before 5 o'clock so we can go and join your space that you're hosting with John tonight.
Oh, you really don't need to wrap yours up for me, Death Ranger. But yes, looking forward to having John on later. Yeah.
Just give me a few moments. I'm in the middle of also cooking spaghetti right now, and I'm gonna get some content to post up top about what I'm speaking about.
Where's Shellfish? I wanted her to come up and talk to us about chess, but we'll probably get into trouble.
About what was that, chess?
Chess, yeah, it's on my bucket list. And I saw randomly, I saw Shellfish had posted about chess today, which was funny. And I see my quack as well in the audience. Hello, alien. Don't feel there.
Was
Oh
there
no.
somebody up?
Somebody called alien. I was just saying hello because nobody was speaking, and they've disappeared.
He's an interesting fellow. Sorry, I was just looking for some stuff to post up top to also kind of help visualize what we're speaking about. Welcome to the space, McQuack and Gork.
Hello, hello. What's going on?
I am doing well, man. How about yourself today?
Yeah,
I am.
pretty good. Just getting ready to get the second gen minted out. So hopefully do that in the next couple of weeks here. So yeah, it's getting everything lined up again.
Are you having another mint on the XRP ledger?
Yeah, we're coming out with our second collection kind of thing. So we'll be minting on an NFT cafe, or XRP cafe. Sorry.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, so just kind of going through like doing the JavaScript and just trying to figure out how to like code it to get the collection the way I want it and everything right. So it's kind of the fun part, like putting the puzzle pieces together finally.
Sorry, give me one more sec. I'm just grabbing that one video that I posted from yesterday. So I was thinking about and Gorik, I know you weren't here yesterday, but we were speaking about particularly black holes and wormholes between these two black holes, and um in in a video that was posted some time ago, already almost 2 years ago now, there was a oh, Twitter's being weird for me today. I'm gonna leave it alone right now. There was a video that came out that a small research team using Google's quantum computer created a wormhole attaching two black holes from a distant galaxy that were recreated, and using the thought of quantum entanglement and attaching different entangled particles in quantum properties with these two black holes, they were able to recreate a wormhole and send a qubit worth of information through that came out the other side using Einstein's equation ER equals EPR, which really stands for the scientists' names Einstein, Rosen, and I'm gonna butcher the last guy's name, so I'm not even gonna say it, but it's starts with a P, and so it's really just their names and the means of what they're trying to explain. And if you were to, or anybody was in here to particularly go on Google right now and look up ER equals EPR to get a nice visualization of the way that the theoretical structure of the wormhole would enact between these two black holes. Now, there's this interesting notion though, right? Because from also the thought of a black hole, there's this thought that once you enter the black hole, no light escapes the black hole, and so even if it was attached to another black hole per se through a wormhole, would you be able to theoretically, if it was an existing black hole, say in maybe somewhere in the galaxy of the universe, would you be able to traverse it? Um, you know, the the interesting thing is, with physics or right, relativity, the answer would be no. But I think with kind of like this missing piece that Einstein and many mathematicians and physicists of the time, 50 years ago, didn't have was quantum mechanics, and it was obviously something he started working on towards the end of his life, and these quantum physics and these properties behind the minute structures of the subatomic particles that make up all of the relative particles of our material world that we interact with, and I think we'll find in further studies, and I think it's kind of already coming out, like this interesting notion of Hawking's radiation, right? So the thought is, if nothing ever escapes a black hole, then why is there radiation? Why is there a lifespan to black holes? As we know, energy never dies; it only changes form. And so I think when we grow a greater understanding of gravity, which is still very questionable to what manifests the gravity in a subatomic realm, right? We call it quantum gravity in some instances, that bound and binded all of these subatomic particles that were able to create mass itself, that warps space and time, or maybe manifests and creates the perception of what we perceive to be time in space. So it's I think it's like this. We're on this super precipice where this inflection point where we have tools like a generative synthetic intelligence system that's connected to a large neural network, and the amount of information that it may be able to model and build together. And we've already seen things like genome, which stands for nothing about the genome structure. Oh man, I guess it could, but it's graph network, right, for right. Oh, sorry, graph network for material experiments. Right, experiments.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. And then I am uh, definitely not butchering it, but yeah, I mean, so already utilizing this and Google's DeepMind, which is their neural net, they were already able to come out with a vast amount of new materials based on the molecular combinations of the different elements and atoms that were being combined to create these different existing properties. And actually, on that subject, actually a really cool one. And Tammy, welcome to the space. I'm sorry, I didn't see we had more people here. Sick, welcome, and manifestations. If anybody wants to come up, please feel free, guys. Or if you have any questions or ideas on it, anything we're speaking about. Um, but I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I just wanted to definitely welcome everyone that was here. Tammy, welcome up though.
Thank you. I have no idea what I can add. Rose just posted this in one of our groups, and I was like, I need to make more coffee if we're talking quantum physics. But I'm listening, and it's blowing my mind. So you keep going.
Well, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, I always kind of wondered, like with quantum entanglement, like when you think about somebody, then like 10 seconds later they text you or something. Like they must have been texting you at that exact same time. Like there's something there, right? It's got to be.
Yes, so I like to coin it, and you can also kind of say this for sometimes when people think they have like past life experiences or something, right? I call it particle retention, where there's a similar frequency in whatever sort of atomic makeup that somehow makes you feel a certain way that then in turn turns into a thought, right, in our minds that we perceive, that was very similar to maybe another situation in existence in a different point of time and space. But I got back on my train of thought there, at least for a second. Um, One of the things that was also recently done in the International Space Station was, there's this kind of notion behind, if we cool atoms to these extremely low temperatures, almost zero, sub-zero, which I think is like negative is it negative 273 or something like that in Fahrenheit degrees, which is very close to what we think to be the closest possible cold temperature that we
like
could.
0 Kelvin kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's like negative 400 and something Kelvin, right? Isn't, because Kelvin's
Well, I think Kelvin like 0 is like the bottom, like that's as cold as it gets.
is that sub-zero?
Yep.
Yeah, so sub. Yeah, but see, I think Kelvin doesn't actually go to subs. I'm gonna look it up real quick, actually, because I don't want to be wrong about that.
Oh.
This 450 feet. Sorry, negative 455 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 2.7 Kelvin. Yeah, you actually are right. Sorry, 0 Kelvin is the coldest possible. That's sub-zero, coldest possible temperature we think that exists in the universe. So, using though different types of atoms, when we get to these cold possible temperatures and shoot lasers through them, we can kind of interact with the electrons that exist and perceive to have a notion of this super fluid movement that's able to be procured synthetically, I guess you could call it, or artificially, right, in some sense, even though I don't really like that word artificial. In that we think wouldn't occur in nature. And so in the International Space Station, that some doing something that's only been able to be done so far with H3, which is helium-3, which is an isotope of helium. They combined two different atoms, potassium and rubidium, and they were able to create this fifth state of matter. So not solid, not liquid, not gas, but it was a superfluid state that was able to be created on a very small scale already in the International Space Station this year. And that I know that doesn't get a Nobel Prize by itself, but it's also a very interesting thing to think about space travel and creating some sort of propulsion system that was able to sustain itself for such a magnitude and possibly have this self-propelling pickup of interactions that could be occurring on an atomic scale.
Yeah, I'm like such a geek. I always get so excited when people start talking about helium-3.
I mean, helium-3 is a very interesting topic, and in the last 50 years, I'd say isotopes are starting to become more of a topic of things that physicists and individuals in the chemical realm, nuclear fission, particular or fusion, I should say, sorry, are interested in because of the interesting properties. Few companies you could look at, particular one, Helion, which has built a new fusion reactor using this tama I'm gonna butcher it. I'm not even gonna try it right now. The type of magnetized chamber where they create a ring of plasma that is sustained through this magnetation of a ring, and so you have these pulses of magnets, right, that are basically aligned in a three-dimensional circle, and through these pulses, using helium-3 and man, I'm having a day. I'm sorry. I was sick yesterday, and I'm not able to speak today. But deuterium, which is an isotope of hydrogen, they've been able to sustain this plasma ring, and without like the typical nuclear fusion reactor today creates heat, which warms up water, which then creates steam, which then we have turbines that spin, and that's how we actually get the electrical current. But with this sustained plasma ring of the H3 and deuterium, we're able to extract the energy directly from that, and that's also something really huge in nuclear fusion going on. They just had the new nuclear reactor in Japan that opened up recently that is taking the same approach as well. It's a large testing one. The is it? It's not Tomahawk. It's man. I'm having a day. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Hopefully it's
Super
built
nuclear.
above
Yeah.
ocean level, sea
What,
level.
what'd you say?
I said hopefully it's built above sea level this time. Funny, not funny.
Wolfenstein's dropping the scientific jokes.
Is it called Takamak? Death Ranger?
Ah, you're the best. Yes,
Well,
Takam.
I get no credit. I'm just very good at Googling.
Yeah. No, I was just doing it myself too. I was like Tomahawk, no Takamak. I was like, oh man, too many things that I have to remember in my brain. And lately, I've been looking at a lot of quantum field theory equations, and it's almost like an alien language. Which, if you know, to think if we could communicate with aliens, how would alien thinks? It's almost like things that I also think that things like generative AI models will be able to take and say, I can look at this like many different ways. Let's try and see if we can take something like that and take the properties from that and make it useful to us somehow. But yeah, I my brain is not working today. Thank you very much, Tammy. And so with that tokamak approach, you know, stable fusion maybe in the next 10 to 15 years, where it obviously takes 5 to 8 years to put these facilities together themselves because they're extremely secure and large. But it also, I think, paves the way for SMRs, which is small modular reactors, and medium-sized reactors as well. These kind of like ready to go systems that could be the size of maybe like a truck, right? That could be dropped off in particular villages or towns that could supply energy to, sectors that were pretty significant in comparison to not needing any of the current infrastructure that creates electricity. Super interesting. And welcome 808. Dazzling, man. If any of you guys would like to come up, please feel free. Paid, if you guys have any questions or thoughts or anything that we've spoken about so far. McQuack, I know you must have a question.
I know, where is McQuack? He must be driving.
Sorry about that. So back to though, touching on entanglement and this thought of de Sitter space. So de Sitter space is another notion of terminology to. Oh, Dazzling, welcome up, man. If you want to jump in, if you have a question on the fusion or anything, please feel free to, or yeah, you tell me if I should keep going.
No, it's all good. I just had a quick one because I am nearly at the job. I was thinking, are you using fusion and entanglement to connect today's episode with yesterday's? Because they are both episodes one of one.
Well, thank you. And I actually did not plan on touching on fusion at all, but I enjoyed it because I definitely think it's a very important technology that's coming out, and it's going to power, I think, a lot of the technologies that we've spoken about in here today, and the performance of the efficiencies for sure of the supply of electricity, which is a must, of course, to all of the electronic software that we use.
So, how far? I guess just one question, then I'll have to drop down. But I mean, how far is fusion going to stretch? I mean, will we see, like obviously we'll have fusion rockets, power grids and stuff like that. But will fusion go down to, say, the the motor car or something like that, or anything else that we use daily. Will we have fusion powered phones? And I know that they've said before that, well, that can be a dangerous thing, because then you can get people that will scoop all these phones up and they'll grab all the fusion out of there, and then they can do nefarious things with it and all this kind of stuff. So how kind of available will they, do you think they will go with making fusion technology available to us?
Well, I don't know about fusion phones or fusion cars. I definitely think that could be a little dangerous. The thing is with fusion, is you're trying to create an immense amount of heat, and for spacecrafts that could possibly exist in outer space, obviously we have submarines. These types of things, maybe it makes sense. Extremely large vehicles, rockets. Rockets that go into outer space, not a horrible idea. I like nuclear thermal rockets. I know it's a big debate in aerodynamics, and some people like them, some people don't. But I think that the thermal rockets makes a lot of sense in outer space, especially for long distance space travel. Um, and I would say, how fast will it develop? Well, I think two things really are important. Who's going to profit off of it, and how fast can they profit off of it? And it's just, until that incentive changes in the structure of our society, it's just it's a slow haul. So maybe I like to say 10 to 15 more years, because especially if you look around in the United States in particular, um, we're we're behind on infrastructure as things are starting to fall apart here. New and other countries that are much smaller and are just starting to build, they're going to use the new age technologies, obviously the new materials and structures and things that we know. So there is that, depending on where you are looking at in the world, for sure too.
Nice, nice. Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the day where we can see all this technology get put to use. So thank you for answering.
Well, and for technology in general, as the devices we go and the computational systems that we use and stuff like that, I think from the supply of the energy source, to say in large ecosystems where you could supply many computational units with power, like a city, right? It makes sense. But the actual computational unit itself, I think this is really where the study of photonics is going to come into play, and learning how the electrons that exist inside of atoms that are interacting inside of the materials that we use, and going back to genome from Google's DeepMind, um, these these different assortments of associations of electromagnetic frequencies, patterns that are interacting with each other, and um, with and already today with the things thoughts of like oscillating gates, which could trap photons and direct them in particular between two circuits of a microchip that have transistors on both sides. If we learn how to efficiently point the electron that could entangle an electron on the other side of the circuit, even with the means of relative uh, classical computation that we have today in the form of bits, I think the possibility of increase of 100,000 folds of efficiencies definitely are in the long term for our species, and the possibilities if we survive that long. And I hope you have a great day at work, Dazzling. Thank you for coming out, ma'am. Um, you know that that thought though of photonics going into not only classical computation, quantum computers, obviously qubits, with this thought of trying to uh, entangle these two states and calculate the change of said state through the dimension of what we can consider to be time and space, and through this having mathematical properties that could be associated with these entangled states as information that could then be processed by a quantum processing unit. But back to the two black holes. De Sitter space. It's this other terminology or this notion for the space that we see all between us, that we perceive to be empty, and not only just on Earth. Obviously, on Earth we have all these different atoms like oxygen, hydrogen, and methane, and all the gases that could possibly exist around us at any point in time. But even in outer space, right, we perceive space itself to be empty. Yet there's this thought that these quantum properties, these different scales or scalar waves that are interacting with each other on these subatomic levels, create this uh, node-like space where the reaction of every reaction has a reaction to every other reaction that could possibly exist, a connected network, and as space itself be all connected. And using Einstein's ER equals EPR and these quantum entangled um, states that could possibly exist between two different black holes, if we were able to have a magnetic propulsion system where we were able to say shield a vehicle, and I go to the iconic, right, Star Trek, when we're thinking about the warp drive, um, we've seen properties that exist on this level that we have publicly, right? If you look at the Large Hadron Collider, where we've had these and recently published the states of lead, the heaviest subatomic energy levels, they've been able to smash it together so far, and the magnetic gravity that gets the field that gets formed from this minute, you could even consider them as black holes, the mass that are being created from this high energy collisions, um, really, at least to me, suggest the notion that we can probably create a field that could exist around a particular object that could then be propelled through, in this instance, maybe a black hole. And come out the other side, obviously, protected by the magnetic field. Now, this is really cool to think about, and from a physics standpoint, maybe gets proven physically to be possible in the next 50 years of our species, or less. The question, though, then is do I just make a black hole and go through it? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you do something so risky? Where are you to come out the other side? And this is where this notion of de Sitter space is very important. And going to Stephen Wolfram, who, on the other hand, has built this tool called the Ruliad, which is this tool of all tools, where it's the mindset is to calculate all of the atomic possibilities that could exist in time and space itself, and take what is meaningful to us and try to use that as in a consideration of any mathematical properties or possibilities that could exist, and say, like a large network that you could distribute this information and have it processed in, and all of the probabilities that could come out of it, so that you can make the greatest chance or choice with the highest probability that's been calculated through all of the different mathematical properties and possibilities that you have given it in these parameters. And so, taking de Sitter space, knowing that space has quantum properties, and there's this possible entanglement that could exist in between these two spaces, and thinking of it as like a tensor network, where every space basically has a little bit of information that's interacting with the next space that has a little bit of information from that last space, and breaking it, and then building a larger tensor network basically over the broken part, so where that we can map out what the probabilities would be in that instance of that case. I think this gives us like this thought of breaking down space into graphs and then being able to maybe have a notion of entanglement that would end up on the other side if we were to use a wormhole. And that's what I was thinking about most of today, actually. So I'm really happy I got to speak about it with so many awesome people in the space today. Sorry, I was just looking at a message. But sorry, if anybody has any questions though in the space, if anybody would like to come up, 808. I think I tried to get you up before, man. If you want to try and come back up, please feel free to. Sugar, welcome to the space. I always love to see you here. Shellfish, anybody has any questions? If not, I'm probably going to close it up in the next two or 3 minutes or so, and we got Rose's space in 12 minutes from now. So.
Well, I don't have any questions, but literally listening to all of this information's given me the what's the film called? Interstellar vibes. I'm gonna watch that film later. Literally.
It's a very interesting one, also. And
yeah, one of my faves. Love that film.
right, and very very recent also. Where it came out right around the same time that study from using Google's quantum computer that proved ER equals EPR to be possible, that they sent a qubit worth of information through the wormhole that existed and it came out the other side. And so these two entangled states possibly being able to exist at different points of what we would call space and time, but in reality existing at both the same parallel points. And also, and I'll finish up on this, right, because this is one of my own personal beliefs. I think that the theory of quantum mystery, which is the relative means of what existence uh, um, maybe comes from or is in some sense, and it's this notion that every electron, right, has properties that are similar to every other electron, and so there's this possibility that all of us are just these different electrons existing at different points in time and space, and we all perceive ourselves to be different, and we feel like we have these different properties, these identities that we build through our existence and our perceived notion. But at the end of the day, it's like if you think about the atoms that actually make up the cells inside of your body, I mean, they're all changing, they're always different. There's waves of energy that are flowing through you at any moment, and it's this notion that you are always changing and you are never the same. Every single moment is a different moment, and even if you were to try and go back in time, it would never be the same moment. It would be a different moment that would never be the same past that you thought would be your future. And so all of us kind of one and all is one. But that also, from that, the possibilities are endless, because if everything is to be relative to our existence, how much existence could possibly be of existence? I think it's like a thought and notion of, is this universe the only universe? But I love you guys. I hope everybody had a great time listening today. I always, of course, love having all of you guys here, and I enjoyed the space as always. But I will be back Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if anybody has any questions or any thoughts on the next space, what you guys would like to talk about, please feel free to send me a message or anything of the sorts. All right, night, everybody.